What's going on? Cheddar Block here. Today I'm bringing you a guide on the most relaxing way to earn gold in ESO. Now all this farm requires you to do is just run along the beaches of Somerset, pick up a few clams, cook them, sell them in the guild store. And that's it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So this relaxing run is actually going to net you anywhere between 15 and 30k per hour. And this is all 100% profit. You're going to be farming every single material for this thing, and it's all in the same run, which makes it very convenient. Covering all the areas here, a few prerequisites before we can actually get started. First and foremost being the Somerset DLC pack. If you do not have this pack, you're not going to have access to any of the materials in this video. I'd recommend just subscribing to ESO Plus. You get access to all the DLC up until the Greymore update. You get a craft bag, you get like 1,300 crowns per month. It's a really solid deal, definitely recommend that. After that, we're going to get our crafting level to 50 and make sure we have all the right skill points and the right skill lines. We'll cover that a little later in the video. And finally, you're going to want to belong to a popular trading guild, somewhere that just moves a lot of weight really fast. And we'll also be covering that as well. Next up, we have alchemy. You just need at least 1 point to put into the keen eye reagent skill line. As you can see here, I have all 3 put in, so you can see up to 40 meters. I believe the first perk is like 15 meters, which is super solid. It just makes any alchemy material in the world glow with a yellow glow, which is going to make your life 100 times easier, especially when it comes to this farm. First thing we really actually need to do is we need to go to Artaeum to get 2 recipes. Now these 2 recipes are both the meta meals for PvP users and Magicka DPS users, which are both extremely popular. And once we get these recipes, we can craft the meals and then we sell the meals in the guild store. Now, the thing about these recipes is these recipes cannot be bought or sold in the guild store. They can't be traded between any players, and you can't trade it between any of your characters. So essentially what that means is these recipes are character bound, so they have to be consumed upon acquisition. As you can see here, I've already made it to Artaeum. I'm going to the east side shore, and I'm just going to cast out into any fishing spot available. You can use any bait, doesn't matter, you don't have to use worms because it's salt water. Doesn't help the RNG at all. So what we're looking for here is something called a waterlogged Stygic satchel. And what these satchels contain is 1 or 2 of the recipes. The gold recipe, Artaeum takeaway broth, and the purple recipe, Artaeum pickup fish bowl. Now, these are all based on RNG. It could take you 1 minute, could take you an hour. For example, I think it took me 45 minutes to get the gold recipe, and then I think the very next time I cast my line out, I got the purple recipe. So it really just depends on RNG. Just be wary before you consume them that it's on the character that you've chosen to max out provisioning. This is very important. So next up we get to head to Somerset. Here we're going to go to the Beyond White Way Shrine all the way at the top of the map. Basically we're just going to run clockwise around this entire island. And there's little shortcuts to way shrines, and you're only going to spend 146, if you're leveled, you're only going to spend 146 gold on transporting to a way shrine, but you'll make that up during the run if you're wary about spending money for a way shrine. And here is a very detailed map showing where all the clams spawn in Somerset. Keep in mind these are RNG, so they're not going to spawn in every single place at once. They're going to be a little stretched out, but still going to get plenty nonetheless. And a little side note about the map, you don't actually have to refer to that map. If I do believe they have an add-on, the Harvest map, where you can see where all the clams spawn, and they just be right there on your mini-map if you have the mini-map add-on. you can always do that. But since I've done this run a million times, I don't have to reference it. I just know where everything is. Alright, so we're about to start hoofing it around Somerset. The two main ingredients we're looking for to make these made of meals, to make all our money, is the powdered mother of pearl and clam galls. Both spawn within giant clams all around Somerset. Now, these clams, keep in mind, are RNG, so it's not a guaranteed drop you'll get either of them. So there's like a couple reasons why I'd say this is the most relaxing farm guide. Just because the environment, I mean, there's not too many farms you're going to see out there where just the environment is so aesthetically pleasing. Not to mention, you don't even have to kill anything on this run. You just run and collect materials the whole way. Another thing about this run, and especially why it makes it so relaxing, is because this run doesn't require your full attention. So it makes it really easy to just multitask. For example, I like to just turn off the music volume and I'll put on a podcast or I'll listen to music. I also have a dual monitor set up, so I'll either throw like Netflix or Hulu up on the second monitor and I'll just like watch a show or watch a movie. Um, and if you're like a DPS user, any DPS user knows that like queuing into like a normal daily dungeon or doing one of the Undaunted pledges, it just takes eons to queue into one of those bad boys. So it's really nice to queue into a dungeon and then I'll just come straight to Somerset. I'll farm for a little bit just until I get picked up. Pretty much this run is going to benefit any type of player. If you're just a PvP player and you're tired of spending money on broths, this is a really good way to just get the broths yourself. Hoard some for yourself. You could sell the others as profit. Not to mention the pickled fish bowls. You make 100% profit on that as well. Um, Also on the run, there's plenty of like rune stones. And if you have the Sigic skill line, then you'll see a lot of Sigic portals. It's also a really good way to get Kuta. Those sell very well in the guild store. Just another outlet to make another income. Probably the most intriguing part about finding out this run is that it really opened up just an entire part of the game that I wasn't even aware of, which is just the ESO economics. They have their own self-sustaining economy. It resembles real-world economics, specifically supply and demand. Anytime something meta comes out, those items go in the guild store for tons of gold. Alright, so what you're about to see here is I have came across what is called an abyssal geyser. So what these geysers do is they send waves of ads, you kill the ads, then they send a boss, you kill the boss, then you open up a giant clam, and you get gold, and you get materials, and you can potentially get clam gall or powdered mother of pearl as well. I definitely don't recommend taking these things by yourself, especially if you're just trying to farm those ingredients, just because unless you're like an 810 um, DPS that can sustain really well, I wouldn't recommend just taking them on by yourself. They just take too long. Um, I mean, even you can see here that like everyone died. A couple guys are 810s in there. I don't even know how everyone died, and then I ended up having to play tank. I guess that's how that works. So yeah, I mean, if you're like me and you're just on a warpath for the clams, I only recommend just doing the geysers when you see a bunch of people there. I mean, it is another form of farming the those ingredients as well, because you'll just see it in the zone chat a bunch. about this geyser's up, this geyser's up, this geyser's up, so you can do that as well. That's not a problem. So, like I said before, the nice thing about this run is it is 100% profit in materials if you're just playing the game. If you're just playing the game and just picking stuff up, satchels, sacks, baskets, you should be just fine and not need to pick up anything from the guild store. Um, Other than that, the other two ingredients that you're probably going to be running low on is fish, if you're not a big fisherman, and torchbug thoraxes, which I do cover in the run because the island is literally saturated with them. You'll see here I stopped for some mud hoppers. These mud hoppers just hit them with a light attack and they have a high chance to just drop one fish. And the island's littered with these bastards. You could just run around just collecting fish, which is nice. Without actually having to cast out and take the time. Even though, on another side note, when you do cast out in Somerset, there is a small drop chance to collect something what's called piandenine bottles. These piandenine bottles have a small drop chance as well to drop up to 3 clam gall, or what I've seen, up to 3 powdered mother pearl. Like I said, that drop chance is really low, but if you are a big fisherman, definitely go out there and cast out because that is just another opportunity to get both the clam gall and powdered mother pearl. So that was the recording of my first run. Pretty average results, honestly. It came out with 4 powdered mother pearls and 2 clam galls. Could be a lot more, could be a lot less. It all depends on RNG. First, you gotta get your provisioning level up to 50. Luckily enough, it's probably the easiest of the crafting skill lines to upgrade to 50. Um, all it really is just you just make a bunch of recipes. Whatever you're picking up on your travels, you can just use those as your materials. Use the green, make green recipes until you can make blue recipes and fill in perks. Use those blue recipes till you make purple ones, and the higher the recipe, the faster the your skill line will go up. So it really takes no time at all. You could do it all in like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. Alright, now that you got a few runs under your belt, you got enough materials to make a couple badges. We got to go through the perks we're going to need for the provisioning skill line. You're going to need 13 extra perks to spend. You're going to need 4 into recipe quality, 6 into recipe improvement, and then 3 into chef at the bare minimum. So you can see there I have some into gourmand and hireling, but those are just useful if you have the extra skill points. Especially the hireling too. It's going to bring you tons of materials that you'll end up using for those meals anyway. After all that, we are finally ready to start crafting our meals. So head over to the nearest provisioning station. Under the food column, go all the way down to the bottom to delicacies, and that's where we'll find our two meta meals. The Arteum Pick a Fish Bowl requires you to have fish, rice, clam, gall, and honey. Rice and honey you're just going to find in sacks, baskets, crates, anywhere else on your travels. The Arteum Takeaway Broth is going to require fish, melons, torchbug thoraxes, and the powdered mother of pearl. Uh, which, like I said, you're going to find them just on your travels, and the torchbug and fish covered a little bit earlier. Last but not least, we got to finally sell our meals in the guild store. Now, this is probably the most important part. You're going to need in order for this to be lucrative, you're going to need a very popular guild store in a very popular area in order to move weight quick and really see your profits come in on a steady basis. Now, I'm not sure if this is a new feature or not. There's actually something called the Guild Finder. I found out about this through just the old-fashioned way I tried to find guilds, which was I'd go to popular zones and just put in the zone chat, hey, I'm a serious trader, looking for a trading guild, don't mind paying dues, things like that. And actually someone on PC was like, hey, just hit G on your keyboard and you'll see Guild Finder, and then you can put in whatever filters you want, which is really nice. Going into this guild finder, just go under browse guilds, you'll find trading. Under trading, you can find, just leave the activities filter blank, and for playstyle, I like to choose hardcore, just because I know for a fact they'll be in a good spot. Take a look at all those guilds, see which one kind of contours to your playstyle and how much you'll be, farming and how much you think you'll make. So keep in mind about some of these serious guild traders. Some of them are going to ask you to pay dues, which is you have to literally just deposit a certain amount of gold into the guild bank every week, or they're going to have you fill a quota every week and sell a certain amount of items and make a certain amount of gold. Which is totally fine, because if you're in a good spot and things are moving really quickly, they're just helping you profit. Not to mention that when you do post things in the guild store, they also take a small percentage of your profits as well. For the guild you're looking for, number one, location, location, location. When I say populated area, I'm talking Ralka, I'm talking Wayrest, I'm talking Elden Root, Mournhold, pretty much anywhere that has 5 or 6 guild traders in one area, and it's all part of the base game. No one needs DLC to access it. Here you'll see I've gone into tamrieltradecenter.com or TTC just to check the prices on PC for exactly how much they're selling the Arteum Takeaway Broth and the Arteum Pickled Fish Bowls for. That's going to differ between Xbox and PlayStation. Most likely it's going to cost a lot more. When I was on Xbox, I was selling Arteum broths. I was selling them one a piece for over $7,000. I don't know what it is now. That was about 6 months ago. But at the time of posting this video, these are the prices for PC right now. So definitely double check those prices. Like if you're posting them too high, like a lot of people get greedy, they post them too high, they'll just never sell. That's just the bottom line. They won't buy them, especially if they know they can buy it cheaper somewhere else. What I like to do is once I get into that guild, I go to that guild area, I go to every single guild trader in that area, and I look at the items I'm selling, and I'll go look at these prices and I'll undercut all of them by, like 100 or 200 gold, like nothing too serious. But considering this run being 100% profit, you can absolutely afford it. So that just about wraps things up. Hopefully this guide helps. Put a few shekels in your pocket, be able to buy that house you want, maybe buy some crowns from a crown dealer. Gold is so useful in this game, it's not even funny. So consider subscribing, dropping a like. I do have another video planned. It's going to be a little bit more intricate. Definitely not as aesthetically pleasing, but the payout is super substantial. So stay tuned for that, and appreciate it, guys. Peace.